Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Joanne Smedley, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Squadron Leader Leo Hasler. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. Please stand and join in the singing of the national anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Driver Albert Sutton. Albert Sutton was born on the 22nd of August 1895, one of 11 children born to Frederick and Elizabeth Sutton. Young Albert spent his childhood in Bulahdelah, New South Wales, where he attended the local public school and later worked as a blacksmith's assistant. Around 1915, he married Grace Eliza, and the couple had one child together, Florida. Sutton enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 27th of May 1916. He was one of 3 Sutton brothers to serve for Australia in the First World War. Thomas Sutton would serve in the 34th Infantry Battalion and Frederick James Sutton in the 60th. The 3 Sutton brothers would end up participating in several major battles together throughout the war. After training at the Broadmeadow camp in New South Wales, Sutton sailed from Sydney Harbour aboard the transport ship Border on the 17th of October. He arrived in Plymouth, England on the 9th of January 1917 and stayed in the United Kingdom for 3 months to continue his training. On the 16th of March, Sutton transferred to France and the war on the Western Front, where he was soon serving as a driver with a 2nd Divisional Artillery Column. On the 19th of July 1917, he transferred to the 11th Battery of the 4th Field Artillery, which was serving near Dickiebush in the Ypres sector of Belgium. Artillery brigades supported infantry troops by firing high explosive and shrapnel shells onto German positions. This was essential for both defence and attack, but often attracted retaliation fire from German guns. Sutton joined the 4th Field Artillery Brigade just in time to provide artillery to support to some of Australia's biggest and bloodiest battles. With his unit, he provided fire in battles such as Menin Road, Polygon Wood, Broodcinder, and Passchendaele. In each case, at least one of his brothers fought in the same engagement. During the Battle of Polygon Wood on the 26th of September 1917, a battle in which all 3 Sutton brothers served, Albert's older brother Frederick was killed in action. On the 19th of October 1917, as the 4th Field Artillery Brigade was serving around Zona Baker in the Ypres sector, Albert Sutton was admitted to the 12th Australian Field Ambulance with severe shrapnel wounds to the legs. He died soon after. Survived by his young wife and daughter, Albert Sutton was 22 years old. It was the second tragedy to strike the Sutton family in just 3 weeks. He was buried in the Menin Road South Military Cemetery, where over 1,500 soldiers of the First World War now lie. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died serving in the First World War. A photograph of his headstone is today displayed beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Driver Albert Sutton, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them. lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you a very good evening.